This is Hilda, a 5-star Pyro character in Duet Night Abyss, who's in both those betas, which is great to see. And let's talk about her kit and what she does. She's actually quite the character. So looking at Hilda, she is a DPS skill damage, weapon damage character whose proficiency is in dual blades and grenade launchers. Now, I don't have a grenade launcher weapon that I can use with her at the moment, which is really unfortunate. Before we talk about demon wedges and what I have on the dual daggers, and actually the range weapon, we need to talk about her skill. So her first skill is pyrolytic cleaning, which essentially summons these hyperthermal purge jets around her, and they deal damage and restore sanity for Hilda when he defeats an enemy. The skill on its own is probably not useful until we talk about second ability. Here's the sanity cost per second, about 14 at level 30. The sanity recovered is about 5, and it has a range of 15 meters. It also costs these Luno mementos and fuel reagents, along with damage style volatile, which you get from enemy drops, so it's less important. Mind, this is the beta. That could change. Wholehearted service summons a bunch of guns around her after shooting her chains around like Doc Ock. Her first ability now has more guns to shoot around her, so it's not really showing it in the video here, but I'll show it in gameplay. And then passively every 3 seconds, guns around her, if you aren't using her first skill, shoot the lasers around the jets, deals damage every 3 seconds. It does pyro damage. You have up to 6 of these light dirt expellers at a time. The attribute, 27 sanity costs. It lasts 12 seconds if you don't use her first ability. Otherwise, it's indefinite until you run out of sanity, and it has the same range. The damage radius for her initial impact is 26 meters, a little less than double. Passive is automatic sanitizing. When she dodges, she reloads her weapon magazine. So this is the case where like a grenade launcher actually would benefit, just because they're shorter. Flip side, the attack speed and rotation speed are increased, and the attack speed of ranged weapons, which is really weird. Now, looking at the attributes, about 18 at level 3 to have that attack speed boost. Now, I don't have multitasking, which is another passive, just because it requires this joyous materials ring of justice rekindled, which I won't spoil who the boss is, but they're really ridiculously hard. You can find out for yourself when the game comes out. This is where the range weapon also becomes more important. While her proficiencies, grenade launchers and dual daggers, you really need to be careful about your ranged weapon, and that's because Dirt Plexer, right, what she summons, has a additional projectile that she summons, and the probability is based off her Hilda's range weapon multi-shot. The damage of hypothermal purge jet is increased by Hilda's range weapon multi-shot, about 20% of it. That's crazy. I wish I had this skill. Absolutely not. Maybe I'll get it off video, just because every video I'm recording with characters, I don't have these extra passives, just because the weekly material is really difficult to get level that I'm at. And then her final pass, which is deployed as a combat partner, is increase the attack up for the character and their nearby pyro. So if you remember, it's the same thing with Jilu, who did it with electro damage. I don't know if this is true for every character. She gets attack boosts and weapon multi-shot boosts. So I don't know if there's a limit on the amount of projectiles you could spawn on a weapon. I don't think there is a soft limit, and I'm sure the hard limit is probably impossible to reach. I haven't tested this. Maybe the developers could confirm this at some point. Until we get more demon wedges with multi-shot, we won't really know, but you can get up to 45 weapon multi-shot just off these boosts. Now, they do take the higher tier materials, the gleaming. Now, I know on my previous video I didn't talk about Introns, but just look at these Introns in the second beta. It's extra dodge attempts, which means she could reload at I1, extra boost from Elegant Anger, and the hypothermal purge jet increase the length at I2. Then they also take 90% more damage by Hilda, which is kind of nuts. At I3, it's just upgrading pyrolytic cleaning and automatic sanitizing, which is her damage skill and passive skill. I4 summons 2 more light dirt plexers and decreases the target's damage by 25%, so they'll deal 25% less damage. That's kind of insane. Hearted service plus automatic sanitizing. So recap, her summon plus her passive. Then at I6, increase Hilda's pen stats by 50% during pyrolytic cleaning. Absolutely insane. I don't know how that influences damage, how significant that is. I'm guessing that just means she ignores 50% of like resistance stats. Now, like I mentioned, her proficiencies in dual daggers and grenade launchers. I don't have a grenade launcher. I'll just say it right now. I might have a 3-star grenade launcher, but I'm not going to use the 3-star weapon. I'm only going to use 4-star and 5-star weapons. I think for videos, I will just focus on 4-star weapons because that's more free-to-play friendly. I don't even have her signature 5-star weapon, so I can't even talk about that. Demon wedges I have on this are attack speed, trigger probability, crit damage plus trigger probability, attack, crit chance, and then attack range. Now, is the trigger probability necessary? Probably not. In fact, what probably makes more sense is removing that and putting in crit chance. I don't think trigger probability really matters with her, right? She's not Jilu, like my previous video. Now, for the ranged weapon, this is where it gets really important. Multi-shot. You absolutely need multi-shot. I only have the 60%, but you absolutely need that just because of her passive. I have crit chance, Lilith's focus, Lilith's impetus attack plus crit chance. Attack speed also important because she boosts attack speed. In fact, let me upgrade this right now. I was gonna put lingering might instead of instead of impetus, just because it says AoE. Just makes more sense. Now we're at 60 tolerance on our range weapon. Now for Hilda's demon wedges, I don't have everything that is necessary. There already is 19 cost. Actually, it goes even higher than that, which probably would be helpful in this case, just because I haven't gone past level 40. We won't use Typhoon's Prime, Malaise, or Serenity. The game recommends through matching tips is Especial Malaise, which I think we have equipped, Infernal Volition, which I haven't been able to get. Notice it says Nocturnal Manual level 30. Yeah, I've been farming that. I only got it for Jilu after I made the video for Jilu, the Electro character one. Iron Wings is Vespa, which is max sanity and skill efficiency. Damage on Pan's Volition and skill efficiency on Pan's Vespa. The big thing is skill efficiency. So you can keep her summons active longer. What I have is Wings of Spespo, Volition, Daze, just for the extra attack, max sanity, Pan's Wings Elapse, and then Spectrum, which is skill range. Honestly, skill duration probably doesn't matter on her. 12 seconds when you don't have the summon active for her passive, it's not worth it. And actually, I'm gonna get rid of Pan Wings Elapse for Inspespo because it recommended Pans Inspespo, and that's about 16% skill efficiency, which is quite great, right? So now that we've covered demon wedges for her weapons and for her, let me show you how she works in combat. Another thing I'd like to note, some characters have affiliations. So far, her allegiance is unaffiliated and her impression is wisdom. We're going to go into an exploration at level 40. So I'll also like get ascension materials orders. Since we are using a pyro character, I will include Hellfire. I will include Keijao just for some extra support. I don't want to include Lady Nightfall because her AoEs are going to kind of disrupt what we're doing. And Jilu. However, those as support teammates, even though they aren't pyro, just because they're massive AoEs, when you have 3 AoE characters together, it sort of kind of cheeses the game a little bit, especially at the level that we're at. But I'll include Keijao. He has AoE, but he will still be more single target in this case. So just to demonstrate, you can see at the bottom of the screen her passive every time I dodge, right? It says 4, 3, 2, 1 seconds, right? To dodge, it reloads. That's really great. Now we could use her skill. See, there's only 2 lasers because the 2 guns that she has. And it's consuming sanity, which is not really doing much. Honestly, this is kind of a nothing ability. Sure, it does something. We could reload. We could melee. But where she really shines is when I turn that off. And then we use her ultimate. This is her ultimate animation. She's kind of like Doc Ock. Now she has a bunch of lasers. And like I said, one of her Introns increases it. And now we're just kind of melting everything. If you think about it, go to melee range, all these lasers will hit. Each one is their own instance of damage. I wish I had a grenade launcher to showcase her hit a little bit better. The reload is nice. Even on a shotgun, I'm gonna get extra pellets on the shotgun because of her multi-shot. Oh, I guess I don't have the multi-shot boost. I wish I had the multi-shot boost. When I make a final video on her, probably on release, when I can fully build her. Hopefully there won't be too many changes from beta to release. This character seems pretty balanced. It's great for farming. You have this massive rotating AoE that just sort of melts the enemy. And if you notice, these enemies are the same level as, you know, we're not cheaping out. We're not fighting level 30 enemies. Even I found her effective even up to level 50. I was using her farming for ascension materials, Sunrise, clearing multiple waves. Incredibly useful. Is she as strong as somebody like Zilu? Probably not. But is she worth having? Sure. If you want to make farming quick and easy and you want to see a bunch of numbers flash on your screen, yeah. I don't know if her lasers go through geometry. It doesn't look like it. Quite good through geometry, which is good. That's balanced. Be really broken. And we finished this mission. Easy. Sure, I had summons. Hellfire's not really doing much except tanking and taunting. Just look at our statistics. How much skill damage did we do? We did almost 1,000,000 skill damage. That's more than triple our melee damage and almost 10 times our range damage. We killed about 128 enemies with our skill versus 66 with our melee. Combat partners actually dealt less damage. They did 500,000, which is Hellfire. Kaiju actually did even less damage. He did 161,000. So yeah, we were carrying. But look at our sanity cost. 1,176 in 3 minutes. That's the thing. In 3 minutes. So keep that in mind. What I really also want to talk about is she a standard banner character? The answer is no. Now, in the first closed beta, she was. But they've changed that because they've added characters like Lady Nightfall and characters like Fantasio. Because of that, they have shifted some characters, including Hilda. So Hilda's no longer in standard, which then likely means she'll be a limited banner character. However, is this character a must pull? Not really. It definitely makes farming easier, but is she necessary? No. But is she fun? Sure. And I'm sure with her multi-shot, that could be game breaking. I mean, I don't know how much multi-shot you could possibly get. We'll see on version 1.0 when they add more demon wedges or they tweak certain values. Just the fact that she gets 45% multi-shot off of these two boosts is insane. If we're considering the fact that just this holdover effect is 60%, which gives us 1.6 multi-shot. So we effectively have 2.05 multi-shot, and that influences her skill damage. It'd be nice to see what a grenade launcher on her would look like. However, like I said, I don't have a 4-star one that I could use. I'll find out on release. Anyways, I hope you enjoy. Like I said, I'm going to be making videos on more characters and just talking about them a little bit and giving my own thoughts on their value. I apologize on the Zilu video for not providing the information about the Introns. I'm still trying to get used to review videos. However, if you enjoy this, like, subscribe. If you want to see more Duet Night Abyss content, I will make other gacha game content. However, I do want to emphasize the Duet Night Abyss stuff because the beta, when the game comes out, I will make new videos. These aren't just me saying that, oh, I'll make the video. I am going to do that. I do actively like to see how this game changes the content actively. It's interesting, and I'm always interested to see where Duet Night Abyss goes. This game really excites me. I hope it excites you guys when it comes out. But anyways, hope you enjoyed. Bye bye.